All right, good morning. Welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac podcast right here on 1010XL's podcast platform, 1010XL.com, the 1010XL app, live on Facebook, recorded in the 1010XL podcast studio, and shared all over the place, wherever you listen and watch your favorite podcasts and all over social media as well. Brought to my good friends at Team Tommy Mac. Make sure you check out TommyMac.net, and you can see the shirt. If you can see the shirt, Carpet Man Flooring, baby, LVP, and so much more. The highest quality at the lowest prices. Check them out online at carpetman.biz. Lots to get into today. Of course, the Jaguars starting their 2025 offseason program this week. They're at it. Trevor Lawrence addressed the media. So did Foye Oluokun. So did Liam Cohen. Very interesting comments, I feel, about Trevor and what he said about his footwork. We'll get into that. We're going to talk a little bit of draft. As I mentioned to the Facebook crowd early, there is a brand new, came out this morning from Cody Benjamin from CBS Sports, mock draft. And, man, it's exciting because there's some movement, there's some action, and who we end up with is pretty dang cool, to be honest with you. And I don't think it'll shock anybody. You probably thought about it yourself. Maybe not in this way, but I found it very, very interesting. So we're going to bring into that. We'll go around the league. We'll talk about news and notes, what's happening, and we'll talk about our Jags like we normally do. Before we do it all, let's say good morning to the one and only Grammage. Grammage, how are you, pal?
What's going on, sir? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. It's a good day. You know, it's my Avery's birthday, 24 years old today. How about that? Happy birthday, Ave. Once again, I said it earlier, but happy birthday. We love you. Great kid. They're going down. Have you been to Decca Live yet?
I have not. A lot of my friends have, though.
Do they like it?
They love it, yeah.
It's a club, right?
Yeah,
like a real club, yeah. So she's going down there. A bunch of her friends. Mom and Dad aren't going. I don't think we were really invited, to be honest with you. We're going to do dinner first with her, but bunch of them taking a party bus, and Brody Jenner is the DJ.
Yeah.
So it's like a big party.
They got a lot of big DJs they've had.
They're bringing in Shaquille O'Neal like in a week or so to DJ.
They
Shaq Diesel, what do they call you? What, DJ Diesel or something like that? Man, I'd like to just go down there just to watch him. I don't even care what he plays. I just want to see this giant of a man, spinning tunes.
They've got a DJ I really like. It's coming in like a month. So
okay,
some of my buddies and I are.
But you haven't been there yet.
Where's
it actually at? Like, do you know
I'm
exactly?
actually not specifically sure.
I'd like to know. I've never been. I'd like to see
it's
where
downtown somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Good. We need it. Listen, man, those kind of clubs are awesome. What?
It's on Bay Street.
Okay, right on the main drag.
Like right by like the Hyatt and all that.
Oh, perfect.
So it's right there, yeah.
Oh,
it's
that is right there.
It's right in the middle of all the Florida, right up from the Florida Theater.
We need places like that, especially for the young kids. You need good, solid places to go that are safe, can have fun. All types of people can go and listen to music and have a good time.
All those roads need, for every Deca that pops up, they need an apartment complex to pop up.
No doubt. Absolutely.
Because if those two things can build, that's how you build a downtown.
You're right.
It's people in their 20s, really, that would move downtown, be in that area, spend money at those places. That's what you need.
Right. Think about it, man. I mean, look, before I caught on with the Jags, I was younger. I was living in downtown Chicago. I was having the time of my life.
Stuff everywhere.
I mean, every day, every night, whatever you want to do, you can find. There's so much fun. You go see a concert, go see a game, go see a show, go wherever. And there's always something going on.
Yeah.
So you're right. The younger, they drive that. And then, look, you start having kids. A lot of people still love that city life. I didn't. Not that I had kids down when I was in the city, but I would want to move out to the burbs, But I get living downtown for sure, especially if you're single without children.
Well, so that's the thing is, in other cities, those people all live downtown. Like in Jacksonville, people my age don't live downtown.
No, because there's not enough to live downtown for yet. But if you think about it, you live on the South Bank. There's plenty because you can go to San Marco, right? You could go over to the other side of the river. We've got the Iceman. We got the Shrimp. Have you seen the new digs on the Shrimp Stadium yet? They did a little upgrade to it.
Yes.
Have you seen it? I want to go check that out. That's fantastic.
I ran camera for the Florida State baseball game, and I saw
yeah. So that we're getting her. We're getting her. Listen, Lot J was going to be all, that stuff.
Yep.
And they turned it down for now. So we'll see if
they got to
get
beef up the living spaces there too, because
for sure
a lot of these places, like, you can't just pay the bills off of after the Jaguar game.
No, definitely.
Like you need who's going to come in on a Wednesday night and get dinner.
Listen, we're not going to turn the show into downtown Jacks. But I've been here 30 years, and for 30 years I'm always saying the same thing. Why is the jail on Main Street?
Crazy.
It's right on Main Street. What are we doing?
Crazy.
And I like Maxwell House being there. I don't understand why Maxwell House doesn't have a walk-up cafe.
That would be sick.
With fresh coffee.
I've thought this.
A nice
yes,
little
thank you.
thing right there.
Thank you.
That's what I'm talking. That is cool.
Imagine a really fun cafe right there, and maybe there's a fun bar right across the street.
And by the way, what's going right there? A bunch of apartments. Remember it burnt Doro.
Yep.
But they're redoing it and bringing that back.
See, that's good.
Absolutely. Jail bad, coffee house cafe, freaking good.
Coffee, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Let's get it going. All right, the Jags have gotten it going. Off-season program. I tell you what, man, the off-season is awesome because you put your work in, right? You gotta work. There's no doubt about it, and not just at the stadium, right? You got to do extra stuff. I was doing. Man, I was going with Telis Asamenios, my friend from Tom Bush, who was a karate and judo champion, and we were learning all types of stuff, and his boxing. His workouts were harder than any of the Jag workouts I'd do. Go to yoga, go stretch, whatever it took. But you have so much free time. I mean, it's like, what do I do? I wake up and I do this. I wake up and I eat. Then I go work out. Then I eat again. Then I probably take a nap. Then I probably go lift. Then I probably come home and shower and get something to eat or maybe just relax. And then maybe at night I'm taking yoga or I'm taking karate or I'm taking UFC or whatever I'm doing. And I, maybe have a little snack, and then maybe I go out. It's a wonderful life. Trust me. I lived it for 4 years anyway, because I had 4 off seasons. And it's tremendous. And they pay you. They pay you to work out. It's, what's so why you wouldn't maximize that? You most guys do, but man, get your workouts in, get your stuff done, work on your craft, work on your game, get better. And then enjoy whatever free time you want. You know what I mean? You don't have to be so honed in on playbook, game plan, the pressures of getting tickets, all this stuff, that happens during the season. It's just getting your body better, working on your mind, your body, your soul, all that stuff. But that's all it is. Then you get together with your teammates, and then as we move along, then we're competing, then we get into our playbook, then we do the OTAs, and, then you take a little, we know the schedule. But it's great when you all come back. It's great that you're working out. I saw, and we all saw, where Liam Cohen talked to the media, so did Foya Lewican, and so did Trevor Lawrence, which brings me to, and listen, I've been chewing on this since it came out. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I asked a couple of guys I really trust and, respect their opinion. Like, am I being, too much, like too nitpicky? About the comments that Trevor made about his footwork being a weakness in his game, and now he's glad they're addressing it in the offseason. And I'm sitting there going, what have you been doing for 4 years? Like, why haven't you been, what are you talking about? I mean, and by the way, footwork, as we know, is everything. What are some of, let's start with this. What are some of Trevor's bad habits? He throws flat-footed a lot, right? So he makes this comment like, yeah, I got to flip my hips. No shit, Sherlock. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, you're in shotgun. Go back to any of them. Watch any quarterback in shotgun. What's the first thing they do? They flip their hips to get themselves in throwing motion. They don't throw like this. They flip that back leg, whether righty or lefty, and they're ready to go. And then he makes a comment about, the system's tied to footwork. 3-step drops, 5-step drops, 7-step drops. That's been around for 100 years, 50 years. Like, what are you talking about? A 3-step drop most of you know this, but I'll explain. A 3-step drop. 1, 2, my third step is my back foot, and I'm throwing that football. It's a quick out. You know, as defenders, when we heard 3-step or saw 3-step, we were told, get with, because that's where the ball is going, right? They don't have time to throw it down deep. It's a quick throw, right? 5-step, same thing, more intermediate. 7-step, a deep throw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, ball is out. Timing, it's all time, but it's always been timing. And don't give me, look, I know what a lot of people, well, the coaches must suck. Okay, maybe there's some truth to that, but are you telling me none of his quarterback coaches, none of his offensive coordinators, and not even Doug Peterson tried to fix his footwork? Only he knew it was a weak. It just seems, look, I'm not trying to I love Trevor, man. I want nothing but the best for him. But when I see these comments, and then I hear those rumblings that, you know, he wasn't putting in the extra time, he wasn't doing the extra stuff. And then he makes these kind of comments, and I'm like, man, that's really strange for a 4-year starter or even been in the league as a quarterback to not know these things. He throws off his back foot way too much, right? Uses his arm way too much. And when he's flat-footed and under pressure, guess what? He does the spin around whirly bird out to his left. I mean, these are bad habits. And even said, he's like, yeah, I got to break these things that I've been doing. My point is this, like, and maybe he didn't mean it the way it came out. Why wouldn't you be working on your game? Do you go to these clinics or quarterback coaches that these other guys do? My Avery was at a photo shoot at a golf course. She saw Brock Purdy. She's like, did you know he was in town? I'm like, yeah, he comes and works on his game. And Caleb Williams is here working on his game, and whoever else. I know there's a couple other guys. Does Trevor go do that? Has he ever done that? Do you ever hear that in the office? I'm asking. I don't remember. Oh yeah, I'm going to California for, or maybe he did early, like his first
he's got
year?
a trainer he works with. Yeah,
His first year.
I don't know the whole schedule and stuff.
I mean,
I'm not
I
sure,
just
but
don't understand. If you know your footwork's a weakness, why didn't you fix the weakness? Doesn't make any sense to me. And maybe in college it was just, hey, get open. We got the best receivers. You're going to be open. Give me a little bit of time. I got the arm. If you're wide open, I'll put it on you and we'll score 70 points. You know, I don't know. It just seems odd to me. And look, and by the way, here's the good part of it. Because I'm not trying to be funny here, but when you have a problem, what's the first thing you got to do? Admit to having the problem. Well, I guarantee you him admitting to the problem is because Liam Cohen told him that his footwork is a weakness. Guaranteed. Guaranteed, he said, Trevor, we got to fix your footwork. And that's why it's coming out now, and that's why he's publicly saying that. As a quarterback, I would have never said that. I would not, because you get guys like me going, man, that's really weird that a 4-year player's making these comments and saying he's got weaknesses in his game, but now year 5, I'm going to address it. I don't know. Listen, again, I think they're on the right path with the staff, with Tony, with Liam, with his staff. I don't know about the staff, but I'll go with Liam and what he did with Baker. I'm holding on to that. And good. It's good that they're addressing these things. They're not kissing his butt. You know, they're not, hey, you're already paid. You're too above the team. They're not. They're saying, look, you got weaknesses in your game. Yeah, you know, I've had those. I've been like, what? Why did you fix any of it? Any of it fixed? Here's what happens. What do I say all the time? And I'll credit Steve Zabel, my old linebacker coach. We're creatures of habit. We're creatures of habit. He used to tell us all the time, don't get into bad habits because they're hard to break. And he meant on the field. It's for life, too, but on the field. For as a linebacker, all of us linebackers know when you jump undercut a block, you better make the play, right? And why is it easy? Because you don't have to hit the lineman. Now, if he's any worth his salt, he's athletic enough to just turn and wall you off. And you won't make the play if you do it all the time. Does that make sense? Well, the bad habit is what? Instead of smashing them with your face and getting rid of them, you want to go around them. Because why? Because it's easier. Right? So those are bad habits, and you got to get out of those bad habits. I know what his bad habits are. You've seen him. And he makes the comment, it's so small people wouldn't notice. Bullshit. Everybody notices it. When you sail them over their head, it's your feet aren't set. We know this, and some of it is the pressure. It's not all him. But anyway, I just found that those comments were really, really strange coming from a quarterback. And the guys that I respect, I asked, they're like, no, I felt the same way. Like, that is really weird for a starting quarterback to say these things. So I like that they're addressing it. And if you think about it, of course, footwork goes to progression. Of course it does. What does it mean? Maybe you aim that front foot to where you're throwing, right? Maybe it is a 5-step drop and I'm looking at a deep out and he's not there. What do I got to do? I got to flip my hips and look to the other. I just can't do it with the arm, right? You can sometimes. You can sometimes. And like Liam says, we all know this. Trevor makes spectacular plays, and then he makes some awful plays. Like routine plays that should always be completed that aren't. But he makes incredible plays too. So can they hone that all together? But talk about it all off season. Next time, I tell you what, if I'm his PR, tell him not to say that stuff. Because that says to me as a player, you're not working on your game enough. And you haven't been. You haven't. And you know what? I've talked about the team last year and all the same mistakes over and over. Well, you look at his mistakes. You can pick them out. You can pick out all the great stuff too. But you can pick out the mistakes. Why? Because they happen. Right? Am I being unfair? Grammy's just half asleep. Am I being you're like me in a Coughlin meeting when he starts going off.
Well, I'm on the fence on this topic. I think I do agree with you to some extent. It's like, okay, like because where I will agree with you for sure is some of that footwork stuff that I agree with you can notice, especially if you know what it's supposed to look like.
It's easy to notice.
You know, this wasn't just a year 4 problem that maybe this was a year 3 problem and a year 2 problem and a year 1. You know what I mean? Like these have been problems over the course of multiple years that you would think over the course of at least one or multiple off seasons, it'd be a really, really big priority to fix. I do think part of it probably is lumped together with that the time he didn't have a lot of the time, the plays they ran. We talked about it on the show. The one play they seemed to always have success with was the same play every single time, right? It was that play action.
Yeah.
It was that play action going to his left. He comes back right. And is that because in that play and that play action, you kind of just naturally have your footwork sort of line up? Does that make sense? You have that play action, and it at that point for that throw is 1, 2, 3. I'm throwing it to that crosser, right? So maybe that's part of it is like Doug's scheme, maybe not emphasizing the footwork. And I'm not saying Trevor shouldn't have worked on it as well, but like, can both of those things be true at the same time?
I mean, Doug's a quarterback.
Yeah.
They all know footwork goes with their throwing. Footwork goes with everything.
So I agree.
Think about it. Every athletic movement, it's footwork.
So I agree, but I think we did see with Doug, not just at the quarterback position, but holistically on that offense, everyone's fundamentals were slipping in his, you know what I mean?
Yep.
The left tackles had issues.
Right.
The guards had issues. The receivers were running.
None of them worked on their game enough to better themselves.
So that's kind of what I'm saying. And I am not bringing that up to try to take Trevor out of the blame pie. Yep. I'm trying to bring that up to say I think both of those things are probably true.
Well, what if he was just part of it? And they're like, well, if the quarterback don't got to do it, why do I?
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe.
That's definitely
and I'm
fair.
not saying they don't work hard. I'm not saying Trevor doesn't work hard. I'm sure he does. When he's in the facility, he works extremely hard. But that's not enough in the NFL. It's not enough, especially with an NFL quarterback, especially when they can only keep you so long in the building. You got to do more on your own. I've been saying that for years. Ever since they got this CBA where they got it made in the shade with practices and time and hitting and all that, well, that means you got to do more on your own to make sure you're ready for Sundays. And that means mental, physical, that means everything. Emotional, whatever. You got to go speak to somebody, whatever that case may be. So, I'll give him the first year because Urban was a train wreck. That whole thing was a train wreck. I'm sure not many guys, although I would think his quarterback coach would work on it, but whatever. Look, he was good the 1 year, 2022, but that's 3 years ago.
So
we can't keep going back to that. I don't care. And he did have a good year. And Doug got him working well, right? He did. He had one read throws. They did a lot of rub routes. Remember that year? We're like, man, they're wide open. They're always wide open. And he's putting it on them. And he had a really good year. He ran the ball when he had to. He was, making the throws. And maybe they figured him out after that. Maybe you couldn't figure him out after year one because it was such a train wreck with Urban. And then Urban's gone and you're starting new. So maybe you couldn't. Maybe the NFL figured him out in 23 and 24. You got to throw in the injuries too. So I got to factor that in. Of course I do. But I don't know. To me, it's like, man, and maybe that was the problem with this team, right? They thought they could just show up at practice, do a little lifting, watch film with the coaches, and then go home. Not all of them, but enough of them. And again, I'll go back to the same mistakes being made over and over again. Something wasn't going on. There was some missing piece of preparation for them to keep making the same mistakes as a team over and over and over again. The good news is, and I really believe this, like when Trevor says that publicly, I don't like that he said it, but the other side of it is like he's admitting to it, and now we're going to try to fix it. Fine. Fix it. But to me, you should have been working on it the entire time, so it shouldn't be that big of a fix.
I also 100% agree with you that if Trevor is saying that publicly, he didn't come up with that on his own. Liam Cohen brought that to his attention 100%.
I think Liam,
I agree with that.
I think there's going to be some humble pie across the board, and we need it. Listen, there were always those rumblings, right? They come off the great year of 2022. They get the brand new Miller Electric facility. There was so much hype, including from themselves, that they got their head lost in the clouds. They did. Part of it was the injuries. Part of it was my shit don't stink, and I can just show up on Sunday. Not all of them, but enough of them. And it showed in the records.
The kind of encompassing all that between Trevor's footwork being a problem, between some of the Doug stuff, between some of the other guys, I think, at least this is my view, after 22, you end that season, great season, everybody's feeling great.
Yep.
We were all critical in that offseason of their seemingly desire to not improve the areas that we still all felt needed improvement upon the team. And roster management, everything. So I feel like if that's how they felt roster management-wise, that's probably how they felt playbook-wise. That's probably how they felt development-wise, fundamental-wise. You know what I'm saying? And Trevor included. Yep. Trevor's guilty in that. Press Taylor's guilty in that. Doug Peterson's guilty in that. Yep. The wide receivers that seemingly have been caught with the drops. Why do you
drops, running wrong routes?
Why do you catch the drop bug? Probably because after practice you're not hitting the jugs machine enough.
Yeah, probably not working on
you know what I mean?
Enough. Yeah.
Why does Devon Hamilton always get too high in his stance late in games? Probably because he gets tired too fast.
It doesn't do extra.
You know what I mean? So it goes back to everything you're saying, and I think that in the beginning of 2023, they still have all this confidence. They're still clearly a talented team, but to your point, as they start to get more predictable in the play calling, and some of that fundamental stuff starts to show up. Over the last 2 years, it was just stock downs, and they just got worse and worse and worse and worse. So by the end of that, it was unrecognizable from what you saw.
Well, listen, when San Fran came to us
in 23,
after losing 3 in a row and beat us down, I think that showed our team that you weren't that tough.
No,
even your record was 8-2, I think at the time, or 8, whatever it was. We beat you down, and you were intimidated. You were scared. You were almost
100%
scared. You couldn't do anything about it. They came in here and whooped you. I remember we were on the field because it was alumni weekend, and they were coming out of the tunnel. And Trent Williams was leading the pack. We were like, oh, boy, these guys they're coming for a fight. And you look over at the Jags, and they're like celebrating that they're 8-2. Like, hey, look at us. And they got punched right in the damn mouth. By the way, in their defense, I've said that since 2022, even when we got beat by Philly. Remember in the rain game, the slick game, but they ran all over us. They started punching us in the mouth, and we couldn't respond, right? We weren't a very physical football team, 23, 22, and 24. But that 23 game against San Fran, that changed us. That knocked us down, and we couldn't come back. It just didn't happen. Then injuries happened and things happened. But, but again, the good news is like that was then, and we're rebuilding because we got to start. And look, we all know it goes through the QB. So you got to get the QB right. You got to get the skills honed. You got to get the footwork down. You got to get the knowledge down. The pre-snap read is going to be huge for Trevor. I mean, think about that because maybe on occasion he knew where the hot read was, based on seeing a blitz. Sometimes they were off. Like, remember, he'd throw it to the inside and it'd be on the outside, vice versa. You didn't know whose fault it was. Was it the receiver or was it his? And you could see the frustration. He smacked the turf. He did that a couple times. So the good news is they are getting to the bottom of it and working on the foundation. And the foundation is footwork. No question about that. I do have to go I got some time here, but Jaguars today at 10 o'clock. I hope you join us with me, Mike Dempsey, Fat Tony, and Dylan Denmark from 10 to 12 noon. The NFL revenue announced their latest, in the latest fiscal year, what their revenue was for that year. You want to guess, Scramage?
Oh my God, I don't even know if I don't want to guess because I don't think I'll even be in the same ballpark.
Their revenue passed $23 billion last year. $23 billion in revenue, not value of teams, in revenue. That's TV contracts, that's tickets, that's food, merchandise, all together, $23 billion. It's only going to go up. And guess what? The players were really smart to negotiate what? They get half. It goes to their contracts. I mean, listen, if you're a younger kid out there, have dreams of playing in let me even go back up. If I knew there was money to be made in college, you know what I mean? Like I had to, not like under the table. I had to be a 5-star, super duper 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 star to make, this money under the table. I just got to be good enough to take $100,000 a year. They're paying kids $50,000 a year, $100,000. Are you kidding me? To have that dangling in front of me? I was always a hard worker. I was an overachiever. I loved working out and trying to get better, but that would even incentivize me even more. And if I'm in college wanting to play in the NFL, the money is insane. Absolutely insane. And you don't have to be a superstar player. You could be a good player and never have to work again. It's great. It's a great time to be a football player. There's no doubt about that. And the NFL, it continues to rock and continues to bring in that money. Joe Flacco finds a new home. Well, not a new one because he's going back to the Browns on a 1-year deal. Going back to the team where he won the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year after being on the couch. Good for Joe. Hey, man, keep it going. So you got Joe, you got Kenny, you got Deshaun. What a quarterback room that'll be. Too much fun. Too much fun. Isaiah Bond turned himself in on a sexual assault warrant that he denies allegations on. I know he's a second-round pick out of Texas. He's vehemently denying that this is true. They're going to fight it, but he did have to answer to that sex assault warrant. Never, and I hate these stories that come out, and maybe well, why'd you bring it up? I just brought it up because he's a draft prospect, and that could hurt him in his draft, status. Man, I just hate these stories come out when they do. It's just, I don't know. And then you're like, why? Why now? I don't know when this actually happened, but you hear it every year. Like there's a story. Joe Mixon, when he whacked a girl in the restaurant. You hate seeing it. For the girl. I'm not saying for the guy. I'm just saying like these things that happen. You're just like, man, you got to, you really got to watch yourself, especially if you're trying to get drafted. I saw where Howie Roseman, did you see what Howie Roseman said about prospects that have any kind of battery, domestic violence, any kind of domestic battery? They do not touch them. They don't care if they've been, reformed. They don't care that it happened years ago. Howie Roseman's like, that's a non-starter for us. At least that's what he said.
But Jalen Carter's just fine.
Did he whack somebody? I thought he drove the car.
Yeah, he was racing people at night and someone died.
Well, that's different than domestic violence. That's a little bit different.
I feel like they're kind of
that's a little under the thing.
But
look,
he's picking and choosing the moral high
he doesn't
ground he
want
wants
him
to be
hitting
on
women.
there. I don't know about that.
You want to be a dummy driving? That's your problem. You can't be hitting women.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
I like it. I like it.
Someone died. I don't know. Those are
two of the same thing.
I don't know if they're the exact same thing, but I think for a GM who drafted a guy knowing that happened to then get on his high horse and talk about, well, we don't touch anybody with sex.
Well, I don't think he was on his high horse. I just think they asked him what part of his strategies were.
I guess. I don't know.
I like they take that stance, though. I like that. I wouldn't want that on my team either.
That's objectively a good thing, yes. I'm just saying.
You can't say it when the other guys are racing cars.
I don't know about that, man, because Georgia they are DUI university right now.
I know. Guy just got caught not too long ago.
And the Eagles take every last Georgia player they can get their hands on.
Yeah, they like racing in the streets.
Can you not kill somebody and hurt somebody in a DUI?
You can.
Like that's what I'm saying. It's like,
yeah.
And I'm not calling it the exact same thing.
Well, you can, but okay. I get what you're saying, but I like what they're saying about domestic violence because I'm not a big fan of that at all.
Yeah, of course.
You can't be doing that, and I wouldn't want any player on my team to have any of that in his life.
It's just a little interesting the team that has Jalen Carter on their roster.
Good point. Listen, I like it. I like it. All right, I want to get into something before I have to go. Before I do, just quick reminder. I won't go through them all. Please check out TommyMac.net. You'll see this show. You'll see the Horse's Mouth celebrity guests. In that show, you'll see Team Tommy Mac with their logos. And you click on their logo, it takes you right to their respective website. They are always there when you need them. Carpet Man Flooring, Crystal Sarah with Bail Bonds, J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling, Azar Sausage, Morgan & Morgan, Code Ninjas, Newmark Phoenix Realty Group, Salt Air Inn and Suites, Baracus Group, Freedom Finance, and Family Tradition Specialty Foods. Man, they are a great group of businesses. I love representing them all day long. All right, so before we go, Cody Benjamin from CBS Sports came out with a brand new mock draft this morning. Did you see it? It was literally like, I was in the car like 9, it was like 15 minutes prior to that. So very interesting, I thought. All right, some trades too. So Ward goes number 1 to Tennessee. Hunter goes to Cleveland. The Panthers trade up to number 3 and grab Abdul Carter. Okay, Giants go back to 8th. Okay, the Pats, which I'm surprised by this, but it would be interesting, draft Mason Graham at number 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on here.
Wait. Jags trade their pick to the Saints for number 9, and the Saints take Shedeur Sanders. It's all a mock draft, but this is exciting. I love it. 6, Gianti goes to the Raiders. 7, Jets take Membu. 8, Giants take Will Campbell. So the tackles, unless you're going Kelvin Banks, gone. And at number 9, you know who it is. We talked about it. Like it was one guy that out of the box, you'd be like, yeah, I'd like that. Even at 5, Tyler Warren out of Penn State in this mock draft.
That would be fun.
Wouldn't that be badass?
That's a fun top 10.
I know. Can you imagine that? All that action in the first round.
That's just a drunk top 10.
People's heads are going to. But you know what? You could see like Carolina wanting to replace
Brian Burns.
Brian Burns,
yeah.
Thank you. Right, you need Carter's that kind of guy.
Oh God,
Giants, they're like, hey man, we need a lineman. We could still maybe, that makes sense. Graham to the Pats doesn't make sense, but Vrabel knows defense, and they're going to build that defense to be a top defense like they always do. They did it with Belichick, so that's interesting. I'd be shocked there. But I would have liked one of the tackles in the scenario. Like Membu, to me, he's got tremendous upside. But if we could get Tyler Warren, I think we've got, oh my gosh, you talk about him and Brenton Strange, that's going to be a nice 1-2 combination punch. Big time. And the 10th, I just did the top 10. The 10th, another tight end goes to the Bears. Colston Loveland from Michigan. big tight end for Michigan. He's actually ranked, some people have him ranked higher than Tyler Warren as a tight end, but maybe not as a playmaker. But yeah, how about that, Grammage? That'd be pretty badass.
Wow.
Now I saw where Prisco has us moving back and taking Tet McMillan. I think I'd be a lot more excited about Tyler Warren in Liam's offense, having a tight end that can not only, 6'6", 250, 60, can block and can run and can go out for passes. You know what I mean? And then you got Brenton where you can really get creative with him. Listen, when you're a tight end that catches a ball, like the greatest ones do, you got to block.
Yeah.
Kittle's a great blocker. Kelsey's a great blocker. These guys, you have to block. Because why? Because if they know you can't block, then they know when you're out there, you're probably going out for a pass.
Yep.
So you got to keep them honest. So,
you become way too predictable.
Man, that got me excited, though. I thought that was pretty cool.
And you talk about...
We'll see if it comes together.
How often have we talked about on this show desperately wanting a go-up contested catch in the red zone guy?
Yeah.
We wanted it forever.
Playmaker, man.
Tyler Warren.
Yep.
If you watch him in the college football playoff.
Yep.
That dude.
No, right.
When they got, he's good the entire field, but when they got inside the red zone, those poor DBs didn't have a prayer.
No, I know.
They didn't have a chance.
He's too big, and he's fast.
He's big. And he don't drop the ball.
No, he's tough.
He goes. He's got that. I don't know if he played basketball, but he's got that basketball kind of vibe where he boxes people out and goes up and gets it like a rebound.
Yep.
Shoo.
I think he played in high school because I saw a thing on ESPN.
That would make sense because
I think he played in high school.
You can tell really fast, can't you? The dudes that played basketball.
Oh, without
the way they go up and catch the ball.
They know how to position their body. They know how to go
stick the butt out a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, man, what a great mock draft that turned out. I'd be happy as a clam. First pick, and then still address some more needs. Don't get me wrong. I really want an offensive tackle that can start, but I'd be really okay with Tyler Warren instead.
Well, because that probably, with that trade back 5 spots for them to go, or 4 spots for them to go get their QB, that probably means I get another, I get another second?
Second.
Probably,
maybe a third, second and a fourth, but yeah, so you're adding
so
even more
a big
to the
hefty's
arsenal.
Coming on the team.
Yeah.
Probably.
Listen, I think based on how the draft goes, I think the Jags are in a great position to trade out. Somebody's going to want somebody. It might be Janty. Right? It was Abdul Carter for Carolina in this mock draft, but it might be the kid out of Boise State. Somebody might want to jump ahead of the Raiders and get to number 5 if they really want them that bad. So it's going to be exciting. All right, we got to go. Heading over to 92.5 FM for Jaguars Today with Mike Dempsey, Fat Tony, and Dylan Denmark. Big thanks to Grammage. Big thanks to all of you out there, man. Really appreciate all the love, all the support. Check out TommyMac.net. Check out the 1010XL YouTube channel. And you'll see this show and you'll see many others. Thank you all. Have a great weekend. Be safe and be cool. Until next time, we'll see you right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Have a great Friday and weekend.